And here we go. Yeah, this is it. We're here. Here we are. And it is 11:26 a.m. I'm just going to record this and then play it a little bit later at 1 o'clock. This way we, quote unquote, stay inside the time frame of the whole thing. But the reality is I didn't. Here's why. Because at 1 o'clock this afternoon, Eastern Daylight Time, which at some point in time we won't have to say that anymore because of that changing it or keeping the daylight savings time steady, but who cares? Not important. It's a whole lot of things just not important right at this moment. What is important at the moment, at least, is the fact that we got a great fundraiser coming up today. 1 o'clock. Well, it's actually from 12 to 8 p.m. today. Let me just throw that on screen this way I get it right. And that is at Anthony's. Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza. So, I want a big shout out there. Rah rah! We should get a live studio audience. This way, we get more clapping power into the whole thing. But I want to thank Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza. Specifically, this is the Comac location for being so generous. What they're doing today from 12 to 8 o'clock, go in there, mention that you're supporting the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. You're part of that effort. Order anything. You can stay there. I'm going to go down there with my wife. We're going to have lunch, which is why I'm doing this thing a little bit early. I know Sherry Kleiman, who is the one who arranged this thing. She is going to be there from 6 o'clock on. And she'll be there from 6 o'clock on to have dinner, have a slice of pizza, a hero, whatever it is. And then 20% of any money that is spent on food that you're eating anyhow, 20% of that bill is going to get donated back to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. This is just one of the many fun ways of helping, well, in this case, our organization, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, raise money. But there's so many ways about doing this whole thing. And what's really, I think, kind of beautiful about what happens when it comes to the fundraising, when it comes to these events that come up, is the fact that so many of these groups are really the family and friends of those that have been diagnosed with the disease. And it comes all over the place, man. It's, young, old, men, women, ethnicities across the board, all the rest of that kind of stuff. So it's somebody. I'm telling you right at this very moment, somebody, whether you know it or not, or you're maybe one person removed from somebody that has been afflicted with Crohn's or colitis. You might not know it because a lot of folks just don't really talk about it altogether too much, but you're there. So here's the one thing that's been interesting when it comes to the fundraising side of it. I'll go out and I'll knock on doors. We had a walk that was local, so I knocked on the doors of many of the local restaurants and businesses. I was like, hi, my name is Brian. Cold walking. Haven't done that in quite a while. But anyhow, it's like, hey, raising money, awareness, give you an opportunity to sponsor, come down, walk, it's right in the area, so it's kind of good. And they did a lot of these with smaller businesses, that 5-mile range of where the walk was, that kind of thing. Do you know how many times I heard the, oh, by the way, conversation or comment that came up? Brian, it's funny that you should be asking because my friend, my sister, my brother, my mom, my dad, my uncle, my cousin, my whatever, they were diagnosed with that, but nobody really knew what it was. Now, that's definitely a big thing. It is a lot of confusion as to what is Crohn's and colitis, or Crohn's or colitis. And for some people, it actually is Crohn's and colitis, a combination of the two. But you get that by the way conversation. There was a networking event we went to. One of the groups right here on Long Island We went down there and set up a table. Um, Suzanne Beck was there. Melissa was there. A couple other people from the foundation. Myself had a table set up, uh, just like any of the other tables that were there. And it was a constant flow of people who came over. Folks I knew but didn't know. Folks I knew from the business world. It came over to them. So, Brian, I didn't know you were involved with this. I'm thinking, all right, well, maybe I need to talk more. All right. So we took that into consideration. So I do that. And that's why out there a little bit more so with this whole thing. And this was a number of years ago. But they didn't know I was involved, but I didn't know that they were involved or that they were diagnosed. They were diagnosed. I had no idea. No idea. And then the other stories were people that knew people, relatives, friends, business associates, or not. Quite a few. And it was great to see the businesses come up and say, one of my employees has been diagnosed and we'd like to help out in some way. Those become the corporate sponsors. And some amazing corporate sponsors that were there at the bowling event we did. This was March 13th, including the bowling alley. So kudos to them for that one. We had the whole bowling alley. And then the walk that'll take place in May. And then we have another walk that's going to take place in October. And then there's a few other different events that are taking place from a big gala or big grouping kind of a thing. But there's so many businesses that show up, like Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza. I wonder if there's a story behind that as to why they are interested in doing this thing. Or maybe Sherry just goes there that frequently and just knocks on that door all the time. Hey, here again. Can you do it? But there was quite a few businesses, and there are quite a few businesses that participate at these walks. Not for the idea of, telling the whole world, oh, look what we're doing, and all the rest of that stuff. Not from that big PR kind of thing, although it is in there, you do get that. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to show their employees that they cared about their employees. Talk about management. We have a couple of examples of that. I'm not going down that path here today, but we have a couple of examples of what good leadership is all about. And it's about caring for your people. It's not about having all the answers. It's about caring. It's about showing some respect for them. And that's what these companies did. So they sponsored the event. It was good. They got the name out. They did all the rest of that stuff. That's all well and good. But when they show their employees how much they care about their employees and their employees' welfare, benefits, mental health, all the rest of that stuff, that goes so far. It's not easy to measure. Definitely not easy to measure. I asked one of my friends who happens to be a corporate keynote speaker about that, because his big topic is talking about attitude, that mental attitude. How you wake up in the morning, what you do each and every day, how you get your day started, how you deal with problems, how you deal with those challenges that we face all the time. And when you have that feeling that you're all alone, that sucks. That just really sucks. But if you know that your family is there with you, that's good. Hey, family, right? They're supposed to be with you. Got stories on that side too. Friends, well, good friends show up. Mediocre friends kind of disappear. But also, what happens there too is you get some surprise friends. I didn't know you cared so much. There was one girl that was diagnosed. She spent quite a few years actually in the hospital, off and on, but a lot of times, longer term stints. And had that conversation with her. She was 12, 13 or so, at the time, about that. And, very disappointing sometimes with family members. Others like really rise to the occasion. But it was their friends that was the big surprise to her. Really the big surprise. She had some that became like so unbelievably close to her because of what she was going through. They'd visit her all the time. And she'd have other people that not much of a relationship beforehand that showed up. They just showed up. And that was unexpected. Lost a few in the interim in there too. So it's not just that it's like it's all good. It's not all good, but there's a lot of folks out there that really care. If you gave them the chance to care, if you shared that story, if you let them do that, well, sometimes these walks, the other events, the golf outings that we attend. I shouldn't say we all attend. I don't. I don't golf. No. Not. I don't golf. So you probably won't see me at a golf event. Might see me at a car show fundraiser. You will see me at the walks on these things. I actually love doing the MC for this. I've done it for a few other groups too. So you see me at that thing. But you're giving people an opportunity to show up, to show some support where they might not know how to do it. Well, in this case, it's super easy. All you got to do is show up and eat. That's really about it. Just show up and eat. I didn't even think you have to eat there. You could probably, take out too. I'm not 100% sure about that. Can you take out? Somebody had asked that question. I don't know what the answer is there. Maybe it is up, in this case. Let's kind of flip over to it. We shall find out. Oh, there we go. I just got an email from somebody about the you got to tell your server. I'm not too sure about that, but anyhow, it'd be cool if you did that just the same. I'll just get back over here to to this thing and do that. So this is one easy way of doing it. There's been paint nights, that's good. Meeting at different restaurants along the way, that side of it is good. Paint nights, they see everybody seems to have a great time doing that. But with the walks too, come down to the walk. A lot of times, you ask for a $20 or $25 donation to go and to participate. That's great. You wind up getting a T-shirt. That's great. You're there showing support. Clothing drives is another big one too. So it's not even so much that I'm asking you to donate or anything like that. Here's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to share this stuff. You're involved with the Crohn's Foundation, you have somebody along those lines, hey, that'd be great to do. By all means, I'm not going to tell you not to share that one, since that's the one that that I'm behind more than anything else. But I'm asking you to figure out what foundation, what nonprofit you want to get behind. And then I'm asking you to do this, to share their events, to share their fundraisers. Great. You can donate to it. All good. You can help to support it by showing up and volunteering. All good. Many of these events need volunteers, especially the walks, the bike rides. Bike rides, unbelievable how many people you need to help out with that. Got involved with one of those too. That's for the Coolies and Emu group. But the volunteer aspect of it is good. But when you share somebody else's story, here's what's going to happen. You're going to hear the by the way. By the way, did you know that I had, or I have a friend that has? Or you're going to have a question coming back to you. I didn't know that you. Well, that's where it kind of is important for you to have some sort of connection with the nonprofit or with the person with the nonprofit. And maybe you just like sharing these things and that's what you like to do. You know what? That's fine. But have some reason, some reason there. There's got to be some sincerity, some authenticity that goes along with these things. Just is some reason for you to do it. Hey, if you're a multi-billionaire and you just want to donate to every charity because it makes you feel good, you know what? It makes you feel good. That's why you do it. That's authentic. That's authentic. If you share this stuff just to get seen more, that's not really authentic, But if you're sharing it because there's a reason behind it, that's good. That definitely is good. And that's what I'm asking you to do. You want to come down there and have a slice of pizza, a hero, plate of lasagna, whatever, whatever you'd like, in that thing, just to meet Shari and to talk about how she does these fundraising things so you can help out with your fundraiser. Hey, you know what? That's good. That's authentic. You just want to go out to eat because you like Anthony's place and you want to thank Anthony's place for doing something like this. And you go down and you say, look, I'm here tonight specifically because you're doing this. And I really appreciate the fact that your restaurant is doing this for another group of people and donating 20% of that bill back to a nonprofit. I think that's great because there are so many companies, restaurants, flat out companies, service companies, whatever, that are supporting the nonprofit community. So many have it as part of what it is that they do. Others are looking at different ways of doing that. Others are looking at giving ways for their employees in order to choose which nonprofits they want to get behind and how they're going to go about, doing that. It's good. I'm telling you, it's good and it's good all around. So that's an important thing to do. So let me get back to this thing. Why I really find it interesting and uh, motivational. How these teams work. Over here. So there was one nonprofit event that we did, and it didn't work out as well as we'd hoped, and it wasn't with the Crows group. It was another. It was a good experience, good learning experience for me. Because what it did, it looked at a way to raise money, but it didn't look at a way, it didn't connect that event with the folks that were afflicted with the disease. It was a big athletic event. And we didn't get a lot of people participating because most of the families and those that had this disease just don't have the energy to do any big event. Not like that, a big physical event. So that wasn't it. So this walk, well, the pizza place is the pizza place, whatever. We it's food. That's on the fundraising side. But the walks that come up when the teams show up for the walk is a mile and a half. It's Belmont Lake State Park. Um, it's a mile walk. You walk around the lake. You don't want to walk, you don't have to walk. That's not really the reasoning behind the whole thing. But if you did, and that's it. So the walk is a part of it. It's the camaraderie is the big, big, big part of the whole thing. That's why they have the tent there. Ask the doctor. That's why they have the tents there for the support groups. That's why they have the tents there with all these corporations that are helping out, all the businesses that are helping out, all the volunteers that are helping out. And it's that group effort that really, truly makes a big difference. And when those teams show up, those teams are people that are there not to go and do a 50-mile or 100-mile bike ride, or not to go out and walk for days and stuff like that. And some groups do that. That breast cancer walk is just unbelievable. They get out there and those people are ready to walk and they do a great job at that. They really are serving their community and that group, and that it works for them. But if you have another disease, it's a little tough, on the energy side of things, well, then a big thing, a big exercise thing is not really it. But a big event where everything's kind of close, where everything's kind of there, where that team support is there the whole way through, the emotional support, is there, and bringing everybody down there. The kids that are like 6 years old, they're just kind of walking for the first time, strollers, whatever, mom, dad, grandparents, the whole thing. It's great. It's just great. So that's why I think those events, are really terrific. And that team approach is really there. And that's where the whole thing becomes super successful. So that's good. That's good. So my ask again to you is to figure out how you can support your nonprofit in a way that makes sense for you, for them, and for those that are afflicted, with these diseases. And I can tell you now, you're going to be shocked at how many people tell you, oh, by the way, and how many times you're going to make somebody smile on each and every effort that you do. And that, my friends, is worth $1,000,000. Truly is. Nobody should feel that they're alone. All right. Remember now. We'll see you down here at Anthony's Coal Fired Pizza. You'll see me earlier, like 1-ish or so. You'll see Shari at 6 o'clock, and who knows in between. So, well, you can do 4 things: eat well, but speak well, speak often, and live inspired. You just may impact somebody right along the way and change their life.